What's up everyone? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So this phone was just released today, the 23rd. That's when this video is uploaded. And let's just dive right in and see what's new with this phone. I am going to be doing a comparison of the Note 10 versus the Note 9 in a day or two. So subscribe, and if you're really curious about that, I'll let you guys know what's up. So first off, let's start off with the design. So this Note is actually a bit more boxy, I think, than the last one, and I really like that. And the next thing about it is the feel. Like, I don't want this to become a comparison video, but the way it feels is just so much nicer than the Note 9. It just feels really good in the hand. These borders, I believe, are still aluminum. They're not steel. At least I don't think they're steel. But with that said, the phone feels really nice in the hand. So you have the Infinity O display. There's a notch. I don't know if that's considered a notch in these days, but we have that. At first, I didn't like it, but I'm kind of getting used to it already, so that's not, a bad thing. Fingerprint Reader. So the Fingerprint Reader is no longer on the back. The Fingerprint Reader is actually on the front, and I gotta say, I don't really like this Fingerprint Reader. I don't know if it's my phone or if this is just how bad these are, but if you look carefully, the fingerprint reader is right here. So I'm going to try to unlock this. There we go. It unlocked. It's quite slow. I mean, again, instantly unlocked, Instantly unlocked again. So, I don't know. With that said, there's no more power button on the right side of the phone. There's literally nothing on this side anymore. So we have the power button and the volume rocker on the left side of the phone. And to use Bixby, you now just hold this down instead. They kind of combined it. You can configure it, which is really nice. I'm glad they did that. And just going over the phone, the S Pen is right here as always. We have the speaker. We have the Type-C microphone. On top, we have the SIM slot and micro SD slot. So this is the Plus model, and it has both slots still, which is really nice. I think this is a speaker cutout. It's definitely not an IR blaster microphone. And then this is a microphone. So overall layout is pretty similar to last year's model. Not too much of a difference. We do have a triple camera setup now, which is really nice. Ultra wide, normal, zoom, time of flight. This thing is really cool. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit to see what it can do. In terms of display, this has a 3040 by 1440 display. It's a WQHD Plus display. However, when you first get the phone, it will be set to FHD Plus. So make sure the first thing you do when you get these phones is change the resolution. I think Samsung does it on purpose to save battery, but that kind of kills the point of having such a nice display. Another thing about the display that I didn't like is the screen mode. So the phone comes with this mode set to natural, and everything looks really washed out. I mean, like, the iPhone is good because they say it's accurate, but at least it looks kind of vivid. This one, even if it's accurate, it's not vivid at all. It looks extremely washed out, at least on my phone. So what I did is I set it to vivid, and I changed the white balance to one notch to the warm side, and it looks much better. The display is really nice. This is probably one of the nicest displays I've used on a phone. So in terms of speakers, it's not bad in terms of loudness. It gets pretty loud, but in terms of the quality, it's not as crystal clear as I'd like it to be. So let me show you how loud it gets. So I'm talking at a normal voice level in a room, and this is how loud this thing can get. We're going to slowly increase the volume. So it's loud, but I just don't like the way it sounds even at full volume. It doesn't distort, but it just has like this compression feel to it. And that's most likely because of the Dolby Atmos sound processing. But even then, when I turned it off, it just didn't sound as clear as my iPhone did. The camera, however, is really, really nice. So you have triple camera setup. And as you can see, this is the normal mode. We can go ultra wide, or we can go zoomed in. So it's really nice. In terms of the selfie camera, it's not that bad actually in terms of how it looks. There's a bit of noise though, so if you're in low light, it won't look that nice. In terms of video, this is the live focus mode, and as you can see, it does a pretty good job actually of blurring out the background. Now, there's actually more filters. This one is the bokeh, and honestly, it's called Big Circle. I'm not a huge fan of this just because it looks really artificial. Now we can go ahead and try changing this, kind of lower it down a bit, maybe a 3. Yeah, so as you can see, it's in terms of how fast it processes the background, it's not bad. So I just don't like the effect. I really like this effect, and right now it's not doing a great job showing us how it looks. So it makes everything in the background black and white, which is really cool. So I'm in focus, but everything's black and white in the background, and I really like this. This is actually really accurate. So I think this poster in the back is just so colorful that it's having a hard time seeing the difference. Let's test out the stability. Let's just run and see how the video looks while running. Not bad actually. So one of the cool things about this phone is the video editing capability. So I'm just going to go ahead and click edit video to the video that you just saw, and we can do things like we can crop the video, we can add some color correction or vignetting, whatever. This is, some skin tones. We can also add subtitles, so subtitle, and I can move this around. Oh, I spelled subtitle wrong. Oh well. And let's see, what else can we do? We can add a little heart. Let's add a little heart right here. This is the doodle. We can doodle on there. I'm not going to doodle. Increase the play speed. Looks like you can even add background music. So let's see how our video looks now. Run and see how the video looks while running. So one of the cool things about the S Pen is the camera features. So if you use your phone and you press up, it changes the camera to the back camera, and when you press down, it goes to the front facing camera. You can also go left to right to change the video mode. So live focus, back to photo, video, photo. The one thing I didn't find too accurate is the circling. So when you're supposed to circle, it zooms in and out. So as you can see, it zoomed out. That time it flipped cameras. There we go. So now I'm zooming out, and of course it went back to the other camera. So these circle features, the ones that require circles, aren't that great. But with that said, anyways, they're kind of gimmicky to be honest, but they're kind of cool. At least there's some new innovation, Oh, my favorite feature. I kind of feel like they ripped this off of Apple, but I'm so glad they added this because this is kind of useful. So this is the Quick Measure app, and you just move the phone around the room so it gets an idea of how everything is. And the cool thing about this is, check this out. So I'm going to put this phone over here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but it actually tells me how far the phone is. It says the phone is 69 centimeters away, which is pretty cool. Now, if I take something that's not super shiny like this box, and I want to measure it, it can actually measure the whole thing. And you guys probably can't really see that, so yeah. The quick measure feature is quite accurate. It's not super accurate, but it's accurate enough. I tried to measure a few things. It was off by a few centimeters, so that's not that bad. That's pretty cool. So one nice thing about this phone is the call quality. The earpiece speaker is pretty loud. It gets really loud. And the speakerphone is also not that bad. I feel like the earpiece on here is better than last generation's Note 9, and it just sounds nice. The only thing I'll say is, when you're talking on the phone through the earpiece, if someone's around you, they'll be able to hear the other person. And the reason I believe that that's more of an issue now than before is, I think this hole right here is actually like a cutout for the earpiece speaker. And because of that, the volume of the other person kind of comes out from the top and through the display, so people around you can hear you. So if you're talking like any of the 3 highest levels, so the highest, second highest, third highest, I'll guarantee you someone next to you on either side will probably be able to hear what you're saying. So something to keep in mind.
For members of this household, that your order is ready. You can pick up your order until July 30th. First skipped message. Old Boulevard, calling to remind one or more members of this household that your order is ready.
With that said, the next thing I want to talk about is the battery life. And I gotta say, the battery on this thing is amazing. It's even better than the Note 9's battery. And I wasn't expecting it to be noticeable, but it's quite noticeable. So right now, this phone's at 67%, and this phone's at 51%. So that's with the same usage. I've been trying to use them around the same, but this phone can last the whole day. I charge it in the morning around 10 a.m. It's now 7 p.m. and the phone is still at 67%. Normally on my Note 9, by this time I'm in the 50-40%, so the battery does have a noticeable difference. It's so far the best battery I've ever used in a smartphone. So that's definitely a nice thing about this phone is the battery. So one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning is the back. So if you look carefully, I don't even know if you can, oh there we go. So you can kind of see those fingerprints, right? That's from a few hours of use. So the bad thing about the back is it's really fingerprint sensitive. Like, I thought the Note 9 was fingerprint sensitive. This is even worse. So I'm not going to add a case or anything to this because I love the way this looks. I don't use cases on my phone. But for those of you who care about fingerprints, that's something to know. And one more thing. There's a screen protector attached to the phone already. I'm wondering if I should remove it or not. I don't normally use cases and screen protectors, but this one's not that bad. It's like you can almost not even tell it's there. But if you look really closely on the edges, you can see that there's like a little cutout for a screen protector. So with that said, the phone comes with a 25-watt charger, which is a fast charger. It's really fast. It comes with USB Type-C headphones. They do no longer include the USB-C to USB adapter, USB Type-A adapter the Note 9 came out with. So that's something they kind of discontinued. So one of the other cool features I want to show you guys is the Samsung DeX. So when you plug in your phone to a computer, whether it be a PC or a Mac, what's going to happen is you can load up the Samsung DeX software, and what's going to happen is it's going to basically turn your phone into like a desktop environment. So as you can see, we're now running the DeX software here. So I can go to my files, and this is basically stuff on my phone. We can go to settings, and these are the actual settings on my phone, as you can see. And this is like a desktop version of Android, and you can right click and all that stuff. I don't have many apps, but you can, click this and you'll find all these apps here. I'd be surprised if camera works actually, but yeah, basically you can use this to do stuff, and here's the notifications here. So that's how this works if you want to connect it to your phone. However, there's one more thing you can do, so I'm just going to disconnect this and show you guys the other thing. So on the phone, there's something called, let's see if I can find it. Of course, it's called Link to Windows. So I've just enabled Link to Windows on here. And on your computer, you want to download the app. So the app is called Your Phone. And what happens is it's going to connect to my phone wirelessly, which is really cool in my opinion. So it's asking for permission, and as you can see, there's no wire, it's all wireless, and there we go. So one of the cool things is you can actually use the phone on your computer. So I can actually click stuff, I believe, on here. As you can see, I just click the camera from here, and I can click the home button, I can swipe up, swipe left, and all that stuff. Another cool thing is I can actually use messages. So if I receive a text message, if my phone's somewhere else, I'll actually receive it on my laptop and I can reply back, which is really cool. So this has actually been around, I think, for a while, but Samsung's doing like a partnership, and there's some extra features. Like, I think this feature, the whole video capture, is actually kind of new. I don't think this was there before, but that's really cool. So I turned this off, and as you can see my home screen. So that's a pretty cool feature. That's something that, I don't think a lot of people show. And this DeX experience actually works in other ways too. So I don't even need a computer. I can literally get a Type-C to HDMI, and this will become like a desktop on the monitor, which is really cool. So that's some of the features of a Note 10. Very businessy style, if you will. So a couple of alternatives. If you have a Note 9, I don't know if you'd want to upgrade to a Note 10 unless you absolutely need the extra features that it has, which isn't too much. You have the extra camera, time of flight sensor, S Pen gestures, bigger battery. The first thing that annoyed me was the headphone jack. I got into my car, I was going to plug in the auxiliary cable, and then I realized, oh, yeah, I forgot, this has no headphone jack. It's not a deal breaker to me, but it's something I really dislike, and I really wish Samsung included that. With that said, I can't really think of anything else that this thing's missing from the Note 9. And they still kept the micro SD. If you're going to buy this phone, I definitely say get the Note 10 Plus. Or otherwise, if you don't need the S Pen, get the S10 or the S10 Plus. The S10 and the S10 Plus are actually really similar in terms of specs to this phone. This phone has a little bit extra to it, but unless you really need the S Pen, the S10 is a really good alternative. If you have a Note 9, it will be pretty hard for you to want to get one of these just because you're not going to get a Note 10. If you're getting a Note 9, you're going to go to Note 10 Plus because a Note 10 has a lower resolution than that phone, and it doesn't have a micro SD slot, so you're not only losing the headphone jack, you're also losing the SD slot. So you're definitely not going to be one of those people that want to get a Note 10. I think the Note 10 is more for people who have an older phone or are looking into a Note series and they want to start off a little bit cheaper. I mean, it's $100 cheaper, so $100 cheaper? No, it's more cheaper than that, actually. This was $1,099. So yeah, it's a little bit more than that. But anyways, my recommendation is get the Note 10 Plus if you really need those features. Get the S10 Plus if you don't need an S Pen, and that way you can retain the headphone jack if you really use the headphone jack. Or, now that new phones are out, you can get the Note 9 probably cheap now, so that's definitely a nice bonus. With that said, I'm going to keep this phone. I'm going to get rid of my Note 9. I really like this phone. It's really nice. For those of you who are on the fence of whether you want to change phones, subscribe. In a day or two, I'll have an actual head-to-head comparison video of these two phones. With that said, let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see in a future video. This is my first phone review, so it's probably kind of garbage. If not, then thank you for watching. As always, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.